This is Mr. Gillum, and today we're going to write the equation of lines. So let's just go right ahead. And before we get started today, there's a few things we need to remember. First off, the slopes of parallel lines are the same. Perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slopes. Also, the slope is equal to rise over run. Those are three really big ideas behind today's lesson that we've covered, but we maybe needed a little reminder on. Okay? Parallel lines have the same slope, perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slopes, and slope is rise over run. Okay? Let's write an equation of a line that passes through the point 4, -2 and is parallel to the line y equals 3x minus 1. So there's a lot going on here. We're given a point, 4, -2, and we're given a line, y equals 3x minus 1. And they're telling us we need something parallel to that. And it has to go through this point. What we know about parallel lines is the slopes have to be equal. So if they give us the line's slope that it needs to be parallel to, we know that the slope of our new line must have to equal 3 as well. If we have a slope and a point, similarly to yesterday's homework, we can find the equation of a line. Y equals mx plus b, and we can start plugging stuff in. We can say we have an x and a y and a slope. -2 equals 12 plus b. If we add 12, we know that 10 equals b. And we know that the slope has to be equal to the given line. So our final answer would be y equals 3x plus 10. This line and this line will be parallel, and this line will go through the point 4, -2. We've done what they've asked us to do. Just like a parallel, now let's write the equation of a line that passes through 2, 4 and is parallel to the line y equals -2 x plus 3. All right. Parallel lines have the same slope. So if we need a line with a parallel slope to this one, we're going to say our slope must have to equal -2. If I want to write the equation of a line, and I know it has to go through this point, and it has to have this slope, we can find our b value. So let's go ahead and plug some numbers in. 4 equals -2 times 2 plus b. 4 equals -4 plus b, so we'll add 4 to both sides, and 8 must equal b. The equation of a parallel line that goes through the point 2, 4 would be y equals -2x plus 8. This is a solution. This is the solution. Now let's talk about perpendicular lines. Okay. Similarly, they're going to give us a point, like 4, -2, and they're going to give us a line, y equals 3x minus 1. But we need to think really hard about what perpendicular really means. If this line has a slope of 3, then a line perpendicular to that would have an opposite reciprocal slope. I'm going to take the 3 over 1, I'm going to flip it over, I'm going to make it negative. This is the slope we need. This is the point it needs to go through, so let's just do the same thing again. Y equals mx plus b. We're going to say -2 equals -1/3 times 4 plus b. -2 equals -4/3 plus b. When I add 4/3 to both sides, here's what you should be thinking. -2 plus 4/3. That means I need -2 to be in terms of threes. I know 6/3 is the same as -2. If I add 4/3 to -6/3, that makes -2/3. So my b value is actually going to be equal to -2/3. Therefore, I can write my equation of a line. Y equals -1/3 x minus 2/3. This line will be perpendicular to the original line because they have opposite reciprocal slopes, and I have guaranteed that it will go through this point because that's the solution that I use to find my equation of my line. Let's do one more here. Once again, it says that we need the equation of a line that passes through that point and is perpendicular to this line. We're going to say 0.24 and the equation y equals negative 2x plus 3. Once again, because I know that perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slopes, I can look at my slope and I can flip it over and make it a positive. My slope has to be 1/2 if these lines are really going to be perpendicular. So I'm going to start with my equation, y equals mx plus b. I'm going to say 4 equals 1/2 times 2 plus b. So 4 equals 1 plus b, or 1 over 1 plus b, which is really 1. And if I subtract 1, I know b equals 3. So y must equal positive 1/2 x plus 3. That would be the equation of a line. Now let's talk about standard form a little bit. This is different than slope-intercept form. Both are still lines. The x is still to the first power. It's still in the numerator. However, it's just written a little differently. There can't be any fractions. The x term has to come first, then the y term, then c. Then equal to a constant, just a number over there. Okay. These two examples at the bottom, 4x plus 3y equals 14, and negative 2x minus 7y equals negative 2, would be examples of standard form. There's no fractions. We have an x term, a y term, and it's equal to a constant. Has to be exactly in that form. No fractions allowed. So let's take a look here. If I want to put this equation into standard form, I need my x and my y on the same side and just a constant on the right-hand side. This one's not too difficult. I know if I subtract 3x from both sides, I have y minus 3x equals 1. I have a constant over here. I'm almost done because in standard form it is in the form my x term, then my y term, then my constant. So I need to write my x term first, then my y term, then my constant. This is in standard form. Once again, I need ax plus by equals c. It needs to be my x term, then my y term, then my c value. This time my c value is going to be negative 4. I need to add 2x to both sides. 2x plus y equals negative 4. This equation is now in standard form. I have my x value, my y value, and my constant, and I don't have any fractions. Now we do have some fractions. So what we need to do first, like all equations, is to get rid of them. So initially, before I do anything else, I'm going to eliminate them by multiplying both sides of this equation by 3. That means I have 3y equals x minus 2. X needs to be over here with y because my standard form states that I need ax plus by equals c. So the next thing I do is subtract x. Finally, I need to have my x first, my y second, and my constant third. This is the same equation in standard form. Let's do another one. Initially, I see that I have fractions, so right before I do anything else, I need to multiply both sides by 4. I'm going to say 4y equals negative 3x plus 14. I'm almost there. I need to get my x and y together. My x should come first, then my y, then my constant. It's now in standard form.